going to first show you a video that took me down the rabbit hole of looking up the child labor laws and who was loosening them and why. But it is clear that all of these things are connected. Like if we keep having these coordinated attacks on teachers, running teachers out of schools, running down schools in general, so that education is weakened. And if kids are not educated, if they don't have deductive skills, deductive reasoning, and all of that, then it makes them the perfect workers. Just look, these corporations don't want thinkers, they just want workers. That, and then these same groups are the groups that are really pushing to put the strict laws, the strict abortion laws in place. Now, these people who love children so much, love the babies, but they want 14-year-olds to be able to work in manufacturing jobs or factory jobs or meatpacking places. So all of this is just way too coordinated for me. But watch this woman's video, and then I am coming in on the back end where I'm going a little bit deeper. I'm using a USA Today article. So stay tuned. Tell me what you think. Like, comment, share.
I'm just going to do a really unbiased factual video of where politics are at today. I feel like people don't realize how quickly things can change and what's actually going on in government today. So look, Tennessee House Bill 878 now allows officiators to discriminate on same-sex and interracial marriage. They can say no if you want to get married. Tennessee has one of the strictest abortion laws with no exceptions. And now if you perform an abortion outside of their jurisdiction of reasons that you can, which are very few, you can actually get a Class C felony. Arkansas House Bill 1410 actually loosens child labor laws and restrictions and has a point that even says 16-year-olds do not even need to verify their age for employment. South Carolina Bill S-240 introduced a bill that would execute women if they got an abortion. 21 South Carolina GOP lawmakers signed on to this bill. Arkansas Bill 1174 says that you can prosecute women who have abortions. It's so vague that it actually could include miscarriages. They define in the bill that it's from fertilization, so when the egg meets the sperm. And look at what they cross out of the bill. Take a look. Including an abortion performed to remove an ectopic pregnancy or other non-viable pregnancy where the embryo is not going to develop farther, or in a scenario deemed necessary to save the life or preserve the health of a woman. Florida Senate Bill 254 would allow the state to take temporary custody of children who receive gender-affirming care. If you don't know that gender-affirming care does not mean a sex change and that sex and gender are different, gender-affirming care could be something as simple as voice therapy, changing the pitch of your voice, having access to counselors that talk to you about your sexuality and how you're feeling, cutting your hair, not wearing nail polish, using pronouns. That's what people mean by gender-affirming care. West Virginia voted no on Bill HB 3018, which is basically establishing 18 as the age of consent for marriage. So forced marriages of children under 18 or children who decide to get married under 18, this bill would have stopped that. They voted no. Mississippi 1020 creates an unelected court system, meaning the Republican majority gets to appoint judges in the court system in Mississippi. Jackson, Mississippi, a predominantly black community, did not get to vote on who their own judges are. The Republican Party appoints this. This is racial oppression. This is a Jim Crow law. Go look up what that means. I don't want to be divisive and I don't want to argue about politics, but that is the reality of the Republican Party. Those have all been introduced by the Republican Party. So when you come to the argument about the left and say they're trying to take your guns and take your Second Amendment right, look at all of the rights that are being stripped on the right. The point is that it's time to stop fighting each other because this is crazy.
The Party of Family Values is attacking child labor laws. Already in 2023, 8 bills to weaken child labor protections have been introduced in 6 Midwestern states: Iowa, Minnesota, Missouri, Nebraska, Ohio, and South Dakota, and in Arkansas. Now, for the family values people, for the people that love children and babies, this definitely seems weird and counterproductive because shouldn't children be focused on school? Let's get into this a little bit. This comes from USA Today. Republicans push for teenagers as young as 14 to work in restaurants and industrial jobs. So, in the past 2 years, Republicans in at least 11 states have sought to loosen child labor laws to help employers fill empty jobs, even as federal officials and news investigations suggest that minors working in manufacturing, meatpacking, and construction jobs are being exploited or hurt. So unemployment rate is low. So factories, restaurants, and retail workers are struggling to find workers. Now, we all know that the cost of living are out of control in the United States. So some Republicans are saying, let's let the children supplement the family's incomes. They're making it sound family friendly and non-nefarious. This is nefarious. The legislation in Ohio would allow for children as young as 14 to work in meat coolers and industrial laundries. In Ohio, Republican state senators last month approved a bill that would allow 14 and 15-year-olds to work until 9 p.m. during the school year. And in Minnesota, a proposal would allow 16 and 17-year-olds to work on construction sites. This is not good for children. Republican lawmakers are making it like these kids are just getting work experience. No, they're being exploited. Arkansas and Tennessee enacted changes last month. A new Arkansas law removes the requirements that children under 16 provide proof of parental consent to work. Tennessee law scraps the prohibition of 16 and 17-year-olds working in restaurants that derive more than a quarter of their revenue from alcohol. It is to be noted that Tennessee Republican State Senator Dale Carr actually represents a tourist destination. That is the reason why he is pushing for this. It is to be noted that the number of teenagers has dropped in the workforce because teenagers are actually staying in school. This is a positive thing. Kids staying in school to increase their education and sharpen their skills as they grow into adults. Don't need to be adultified. Part 2 is coming. Okay, so this is part 2 about Republican lawmakers attacking child labor laws. Attempts to weaken state-level child labor standards are part of a coordinated campaign backed by industry groups intent on eventually diluting federal standards that cover the whole country. A youth employment bill. Jessica Dunker, president and CEO of Iowa Restaurant Association, said the legislation in her state is simply designed to open up more opportunities for students who want or need to earn extra money. I want to really highlight that. That's why it's so much yellow. This is a push by certain industries to see if they can get away with hiring children so they can pay them less and disguise it as job training. These entry-level jobs provide little in terms of skills. So just keep that in mind. They are looking to continue to push the incomes down across the board. Berkowitz says there is a place for true apprenticeship programs and opportunities for minors to work in safe environments, but certain dangerous industries should be off limits for children. She added that government workplace safety regulators in the state and federal level are vastly underfunded, leaving most workplaces unchecked until a major injury or death occurs. And, taking things out of schools like wood shopping and the mechanical things where they were working on cars and home ec where they were learning how to cook. This is a good place where that could be installed, where kids are actually learning skills versus thinking that they need to go to an actual job. There are certain low-road industries that are going to cut down on labor costs where they can. The state-level push to loosen rules comes amid an increase in the number of child labor violations tracked by the U.S. Department of Labor. Last year, there were 835 child labor violation cases involving over 3,800 children. The number of minors illegally employed was 37% higher in 2022 than it was in 2021, and 283% higher than in fiscal year 2015. One major case concluded in February when Packers Sanitation Services, Inc., one of the largest cleaning services for meatpacking plants, paid $1.5 million in civil penalties after the Department of Labor found that it had employed at least 102 children in hazardous jobs in 8 states, including, look at these 3 states, Arkansas, Minnesota, and Tennessee. Agency investigators found that the company had children ages 13 to 17 working overnight shifts, performing such jobs using caustic chemicals to clean razor sharp saws. Now tell me that this is just giving kids opportunities. This is part of a bigger coordinated issue that red states are pushing, and we have got to start talking about this. Like, comment, share.